Everybody, guess what? It's Friday, and we're going to end the week in a big way. We've got Adam from Counting Crows with us. I'm so excited. How's it going this morning?
It's all right. It's all right. It's a nice day.
It's a nice day. I like your little background you got here. You got some pieces of art behind you. Are those something that you made or something you purchased?
No, well, those are, well, I guess I did purchase them, but these are Felipe Molina, who did the album cover for Somewhere Under Wonderland. He painted different paintings for every song. That's Palisades Park over there. I can see scarecrows back here. I can't remember what behind me is. I can't remember what that one is. He did a different painting for each song in the CD booklet back then. So I have here. We have a little indie festival that we do here when it's safe to do it, called Underwater Sunshine. And so we actually film these things called garden sessions here at this end of my living room. And we have these as backdrops. So they're still here.
I love it. It looks great. It makes for a very nice background. I didn't know that, so I'm glad you explained that to us. Hey, listen, the last time I saw you was in 2018 at Pilgrimage Festival.
For 3 songs.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that. So we were trying to remember. We were talking about that. So you were, and hey, by the way, thank you for coming backstage. Not all the artists come backstage and talk to us who are covering it. And so I really appreciate that you took time out before your set to come back. Everybody was excited that you were back there. But then we all ran over to your stage and literally you got 3 songs.
You know, I didn't even remember that we got the 3 songs. We had my friend Chris Caraba, who's a singer from Dashboard Confessional, who lives in Franklin. He was here visiting last week, and we were talking about that because he rode his bicycle down from his house to Pilgrimage Fest to come hang out. And I was like, "Yeah, we didn't even get to play." And he said, "No, you played 3 songs." And I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." And I thought about it, and then I remembered, "Oh yeah, we did get to go on stage, and then we got booted right off."
What was it like for you? Has that ever happened before?
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember if it's happened for 3 songs particularly, but you know, gigs get rained out.
Yeah.
You sit there waiting for it to break, and then you dash on stage. You can't. The crew gets everything quickly set up, out of the rain gear, and then it starts raining again. You got to stop again. It's not the rain that really does it as much as the lightning usually, but yeah, that's happened before. More than once. I mean, I've been playing for 30 years, so we've had bad weather.
Yeah. Well, but you did. I remember you talking about you do like to come and visit Franklin. You have some favorite spots you like to visit.
Well, yeah, I just have really good friends there. Chris is one of my best friends, and he lives down there. And I just found out they're going to be in town for our Franklin gig, which I'm really excited about because I assumed he'd be off on tour, but he's got gigs before it and gigs after it. But he's home that week, so yeah.
So, are there any things you like to try to do when you come to town? Hot chicken, anything?
Well, I love Prince's. It's not the hot chicken so much. Their fried chicken is just really, really good.
Okay.
I go with the mild. That's the one I found is the one that really knocks me out. That is great chicken right there. That's
Prince's.
Yeah, man, that's really good. Not the heat though. I had some of the other ones and I got it a little too hot and just burned my face off.
I'm not about the spice either, I gotta say. Even though I live here, I am not. I can't do the spice either. I'm sure eating all that spicy food and then trying to go perform on stage, that's probably not a good idea either, right?
No, that's day off material. Yeah.
Day off.
Definitely not right before a show.
Right. Yeah. Talk about day off. You had a lot of days off last year and during the pandemic. Tell me how you filled your days. I know a couple of things you did. You had your cooking show. Tell me about that.
Well, early in the pandemic, I went to my girlfriend and I said, I'm really concerned because I'd been thinking about it a lot. I don't want to wake up a year and a half from now and have done nothing, just been laying around for a year. So I'm going to learn to cook everything. And I started cooking all the time, every day. I've always cooked in my life, but
yeah,
I don't know that I've ever cooked every day like that. And really all the time that I used to spend researching for our podcast, I spent researching recipes and figuring out how to cook stuff. And after a while, she said, you should put some of these up on your Instagram stories, show people how to cook this stuff. And I thought about that and did it. And then I transferred to doing it, to editing the videos myself and putting them on Instagram TV. It was just kind of something to do for fun. I mean, obviously I can't do it once we start touring, you know. I haven't done it in a while because I was away in Europe for a little bit. So
yeah. I do like them. That transition kind of remind me of the old Batman shows. Was that?
Yeah. That's exactly what that
was that a throwback to that?
Oh yeah, I just used it like once or twice an episode. But yeah, that's absolutely the Batman theme. It doesn't say it on the app, but I heard it and I thought, oh, it's Batman. I'm doing that for sure. But I can only put it a couple times because that'll annoy the hell out of people. If you do it too many times.
I caught on to that. Yeah. That was so much fun to watch that. Yes. And then I heard that your new album is kind of inspired from your cooking show, so to speak, or you announced it. You kind of announced the tour. Oh, you don't know?
I don't remember. Maybe I said something on a cooking show that we were doing it. Oh, I did. That's right. My girlfriend's reminded me that at one point I did a cooking show where I taught people to make toast, but really it was just a disguised version of announcing the record because I just took a huge stick of butter and put it on a piece of toast and then dropped a cutting board on it as a way of spreading. Yeah, I saw that. That was the way you kind of teased. Or wait a minute, it's a Taylor Swift thing, like an Easter egg for your Butter Miracle tour, right? It was. I forgot about that. Not for the tour. I think that was actually for the album. I think I did that as the cooking show the week before the record came out. Oh, okay. And then came the tour. Yeah. I love it. Tell me about this new album. What was that like doing that during a pandemic? Recording, writing? Did you feel like more inspired or less inspired? Well, it was mostly finished before that. I went over to visit a friend. My friend has a farm in the west of England, and I went over there to visit him August of 2019, I guess. We had just finished touring. And actually, my first morning there, on a whim, I shaved my head and shaved off my dreads. Then I ended up on his farm for a while, and some of the time my girlfriend was there, and sometimes my friend and his family. But a lot of time I was just by myself with a couple dogs, and I kind of got the urge to write and play piano, which I hadn't thought about in a while. And I rented a keyboard. A friend drove it down from London, and I started playing. And a couple days later, I wrote "The Tall Grass," which is the first song on the EP. And the next day I was playing it back for myself, trying to figure out if it was done or if there was more to the song. And I was messing around with the ending, playing different chords under it. And I liked some of them a lot, singing those lines over different chords. And then I found myself playing them a little differently. And I sang this line, "Bobby was a kid from around the town." And I thought, oh, I really like that. That's great. Maybe this song is longer. Maybe it's more like Palisades Park, where it's got this extended other section. And I went back to working on it, and after a minute or two, I thought, well, no, this is a different song. But I actually really loved the way that it flowed right out of the first song, like they were the same song. That song actually turned out to be "Elevator Boots." Yes, but which just went #1. I know. That's last week, which is 30 years into a career. It's nice to have a #1. But that gave me the idea. What if I wrote a series of songs where the end of one is the beginning of the other, and they flow together like one long song? And that gave me the idea to do the suite. That got me really excited. And then I was kind of feverish about it after that. But I finished things up in January of 2020, writing Bobby and the Rat Kings. And we were rehearsing by mid-February. And we went in the studio last couple days of February in 2020. So the plan was to just do 2 weeks with 5 of us and then a 2-week break. And then we'd bring the other 2 guitar players in for a couple days and finish. But as we were finishing the first 2 weeks, you know, the news has the president at the CDC talking about don't get off the boats because I don't want any extra cases. And we're looking at this thinking, this doesn't look good. And a couple days into that break, quarantine came down. And so, you know, we were stuck. Unfinished, but we were almost, 85% done with the record. So we finished it remotely in July, and it was done. So the pandemic didn't really affect the record that much because it was mostly done before it happened. Yeah. Wow. You just got in just under the curve. Yeah, just in time. Just in time. Tell me what it's like. You kind of mentioned a minute ago. Elevator Boots just went #1 last week. Wow. Like, tell me, how's that feel? Well, I mean, look, nobody gets into rock and roll or any art form thinking this is my lifelong dream. I've always wanted to be a rock star for a year and a half, to make one album and then become passe and flop. Like everybody, you plan to do it your whole life. It just doesn't happen. The shelf life of people being interested in you is pretty short most times. So it's kind of miraculous to be here almost 30 years later. I remember in our first year of touring, we opened for the Rolling Stones about a year into it. And the first gig was at RFK Stadium. It was on the Voodoo Lounge tour. And the first show we had with them was on my 30th birthday. And I remember thinking, wow, like I'm turning 30 today. I'm opening for the Stones. Their career probably started around the year I was born. So they're about 30 years old as a band. How wild must that be to have been playing together as long as I've been alive, and seems like impossible. Here we are yet almost 30 years later. I mean, obviously we never were and are never going to be as big as the Stones, but still we're here with a number one record, number one song 30 years later. I mean, it's just, I don't know what to think of it. It's pretty cool because I still feel like we're making good music. We're pretty vital. We're not just out there playing greatest hit shows, here. Right. That is, we have a new song and it's the number one spot on, some radio stations. So I don't know what to make of it, but I'm very pleased because I'm not really done being an artist. So I'd like to keep going for a while.
Right. And I think you make a great point because a lot of artists, like you said, if they have been around as long as you guys have for 30 years, they do a bunch of greatest hits or they remix all their old songs. They're not necessarily creating new things for the fans. And I think the fans appreciate that. Obviously, they've reacted to that well.
Yeah. I mean, well, part of the problem is for a lot of those bands, the fans just don't give a damn anymore. It's hard to keep people interested in you. There's a period in our lives where we're obsessed with music. And we just listen to tons of music, at college age or when you're a little younger. And, and the fact of the matter is that after that, most people, not me, but most people, they listen to a couple things after that, but they're not like seeking out new music. So it's harder to stay in everybody's like eye line. But I mean, we're here. It's pretty cool. I feel pretty grateful for that.
Yeah. And you're headed out on tour. So very exciting. Let's talk about this. You're coming to Franklin August 12th. You're going to be one of the very first shows. Did you realize this is a brand new venue for us?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So you're playing I think it's the second official show for the entire venue. Again, it's outside. Let's hope Tennessee weather cooperates with you. But what is it like to be to say your name's going to be there as one of the first artists there?
Well, the bathrooms are a lot cleaner generally. And no one's peed on the carpet yet. It's always a pleasure to play early on. Like we did this a few years ago in downtown Nashville. They built that new amphitheater a few years ago. I can't remember what it's called.
Ascend.
Ascend. I was going to say Arise. And it's like you get into a new venue like that, and I can't tell you how different the backstage seems.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine that'll be true for this one too, which is kind of cool. That's about. Other than that, it's also because a lot of these venues have been around a long time. You've played them a million times. You know them, even though the names change every year with a different corporate sponsor, you know the venue. And it's weird to play a new one. That'll be really refreshing,
Yeah. Yeah. Do you prefer the outdoor type venues as opposed to, indoor, or do you like outdoor?
It doesn't really matter to me. I like bigger. And I like them if they sound good. To me, it's just like we're going to play the same show whether we're in a little intimate club or a big stadium, and we're just trying to do so. Pulling off all the 10-minute round heres and the improvisations where you try and get the audience to be pin drop quiet. I mean, that's always going to be cool, but it's really cool if you can pull it off with 60,000 people. I always feel like, wow, we really did. You hit the back row on that one.
Yeah.
But I just like them if they sound good is the main thing. Sometimes indoor places sound good. Sometimes, a lot of the indoor places are basketball arenas. And so they often are built to be as reverberant and loud as possible. And they can be a bit of a hassle to play because the sound goes crazy. But some of them, they've figured out how to do that too. So I don't really have a true preference on indoor or outdoor as long as it sounds good.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. The Olympics started today. Officially, the ceremony was yesterday. If there was an Olympics for musicians, what event would you be a part of or want to compete in?
Oh, I wouldn't show up, probably. I only play for me. I don't know. It doesn't seem like, I actually have a friend in the Olympics right now.
Oh, well, do you?
He's a horse, but yeah. My friend raises horses, and his horse Vitaly is actually the lead competitor for the New Zealand Olympic team right now. My friend the farm where I stayed in England, where I wrote Butter Miracle, is where Vitaly was raised, and I've spent a lot of time with that horse, and
wow.
on him, and I saw him just now when I was in England, and he's now in Tokyo competing with Tim Price, the rider for the New Zealand equestrian team. So I'm pulling. Wow. Even though he's a horse, I don't talk a lot, I still feel like I know him, and he's in the Olympics. So, and
you have a connection.
I do.
See, who knew? Who knew? That's not what I was expecting, but I love that connection to the Olympics. I always find the Olympics so exciting, and I'm glad they actually are being able to have it this year.
Yeah, I wonder if they would have been better pushing it back a year. I hope it doesn't turn into a nightmare for those athletes, but it's exciting to have an Olympics. I'll tell you that. I worry about the same thing with our concerts. I hope they go well. I hope people are safe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as of now, you're still coming to Franklin August 12th. There are tickets available. I just checked it out before we logged on here. Not a bunch, but just go check it out because you don't want to miss it. Hey, it's always great to catch up with you.
And if you're gonna come out to a crowded place, I hope you get vaccinated so you're safe. I feel pretty good about myself. I'm only worried about the audiences because I'm vaccinated and I'm safe. And it's a lot of people crowding out back there. Get yourself vaccinated. Come out. Go see rock and roll shows. Go see as many as you can because no one's been able to see them for years. But be safe about it.
Yeah.
Want people to take care of themselves.
Right. All right. Hey, it's been great to catch up with you. So glad you're coming back to Franklin again. We'll get to see you again. So we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye, everybody.